Well, good morning, gang. Pretty productive morning this morning here on the Better Tune In. Well, not on the Better Tune In, beforehand. Got up pretty early. You got a decent night's sleep, according to my Oura Ring, which is good. Sort of crushing it there at the moment, which is great. Some of it might be because of this thing here that I've really been giving a lot of testing to over the last week. But what we're going to be talking about today is talking about coming from the balcony. And I've mentioned this before, and I'm kind of going to do this again because I think it's just really relevant and imperative that people broaden out their perspective right now, because a lot of the forces on the planet right now are trying to focus to one thing. In fact, they've always wanted you to focus to something, and a lot of it comes through just a lot of stuff we're taking in information-wise at the moment, right? And, wow, what percentage of information is coming in through some form of digital right now? You have a look at how many hours you spend in front of the TV, or how many hours you're spending on your phone looking at that, or how many hours you're spending in front of your laptop or whatever your favorite device is. Count that up. In fact, on your phone, I don't know exactly where to navigate to, but it actually tells you how much time you're spending in each of the apps, as a matter of fact. So when you think about that, you start to realize that if something, one, people, system, whatever, is pumping information that it wants you to find, or wants it to find you, guess what's going in through the eyes and then into the brain? I mean, this is just fact. Just do your own self-checking on this, right? That amount of data, information, and it's coming into your ears, and it's frequency that gets decoded by your ears, or it's frequency, right, that's getting read in through your eyes that you see as a hologram, because things you can't touch yet, you only see in the distance, it's a hologram. It's a hologram of frequency, right? The same as a real hologram. When that's shown up, it's just frequency, it's light, right? Shining off, coming off at different angles, and different frequencies of light will, as it hits certain things, it'll bounce off a different frequency to give you an interpretation of a color, something you'll call red or black or whatever. And it actually, all these impulses go into your brain as electrical activity that your brain then analyzes and goes back into the database in your head, history. It checks in the memory, which kind of exists all around the brain, or it's making a quick check on the reticular activation system, scanning for dangers straight to your amygdala, which is like where the emergency information lives from history, a lot of it false, right? Now, if you've got someone that can transmit the information that they want you to see, or for it to find you, and it has a bot or whatever. I mean, we've got so high tech now on how, from cookies to bots to everything to get to you, that it's programming you. If that information's coming in, it's being projected on your screen, onto your subconscious screen, through your prefrontal cortex, doing a whole lot of analysis and so on. Some of it's going to be going in subliminally. It's putting the program in, I'll tell you now. And what's coming through right now? What are the top things that are coming through right now? What do you hear on the news every single effing day, right? COVID, everything to do with the virus, everything. And so what's that going to be? What do you think that's going to be hitting in your brain? It's going for the fear muscle at the back, the fear part of the brain, the amygdala. It's pretty simple. So if someone wants to motivate you to do something, the best short-term motivator is fear. because the body will trigger off to protect itself. That's how we survived. And some of us have more active reticular activation systems, like my actual health type, than others, right? Or there's another one as well, which is very nerve and brain heavy, processing a lot of stuff, feeling a lot of stuff, taking in a lot of information, analyzing it. So if someone can manipulate, or something can manipulate all that information you're getting exposed to, guess what? They now start to get to control. Guess what? You. Keep getting fed that info. If you keep looking at all the devices that are controlled a lot by others, not you, on the information that's there, they got you, baby. They're locking you in and they're getting you charged. And right now, what's going on there is getting you charged in fear. All right, so the title of this little bit of tune in was perspective, or it's to do with perspective, but it was coming from the balcony. So if you're coming from the balcony, what are you doing? You're up higher, you're looking broader, you're looking at a broader context. You know, you're spreading your focus from one little thing where someone's shoving information into your face they want you to have, to putting life and things into perspective. You know what? We could drive a truck right now through all the data that's coming on COVID. I'm serious. You can drive a fucking truck right through it. You know, give me someone that says this, fine. It's easy. I'll get someone that says this. Get someone that says this, I'll find someone else that says this. The thing is, we don't fucking know exactly what the truth is, right? We're just got information that's coming to us. But here's the good news. You get to control a couple of things. And you always have control of that, which is really cool. You get to control the way that you perceive or interpret that information. You get to control that, because I'll tell you now, it's not facts that's coming through. It may be, but you don't know. I don't know. And so you go, okay, interesting point of view. And mind you, you keep looking, and there's someone that had this great phrase, someone famous said, basically, if you keep feeding people a lie, it eventually becomes their truth. It becomes truth. They believe it. And so we're talking about belief systems here, and what you believe. That's what's going to then biochemically switch on stuff in you, epigenetically. In other words, switching on certain genes. And if it's around fear, they're going to be survival type genes. You keep those on, it ain't going to be good for you. I'll tell you now. So, to get yourself into a different state emotionally, part of it is actually, and this is where you get the support. And you've heard me say this again and again and again, and it isn't going to stop until people understand the basic premises of health to begin with are going to be that three-legged stool. And I listen to a shitload of podcasts. I read, not that much. I like to listen through audibles, stuff through my ears. I prefer to take info that way. We're all different, right? And it means I can be doing exercise and stuff at the same time. Reading a book while you're moving around, it's a bit tough. But you're taking in all this information, and the information, the common thread I get each and every fucking time, sorry about the language, but I'm feeling pretty strongly about this, you might have guessed, is it comes down each time to eating, moving, and sleeping as the basic premises for fundamental health. And if you want to get sexy above that, and the biohacking, yeah, sure, and I know a certain amount of that stuff. There's other people that know a lot more than me, right? Experts that I listen to. But you will, if you can get those right, if the mainstream of people can get their eating, moving, and sleeping right, they are making a massive step forward on having a healthy lifestyle. And that's whether you're an executive or just any being, right? I know I focus on execs, but the rules, it's the same. It's just that the language I use, and because I can relate to them a lot and understand their challenge, I know how they need things, information to be delivered, and how they need to work their eat, move, and sleep that works into their lives, because I know what their lives are like, because I was there for a long time. So, eating, moving, sleeping, get that right first as a support. Second thing is, the fourth one is, you get the three-legged stool. That ain't a stool yet until you put a top on it. That's the brain, right? So that's where the bum sits. And sometimes you got to get your head out of your ass, so to speak. And so with that, how you're thinking. And this is where control is being left to where you are focusing your attention. Because where your attention goes, and all of my fellow health committed people out there and wellness and whatever, that are well read or well heard or well cited, whatever, on information, know this saying that where your attention goes, energy flows. If you are directing your attention to a lot of the bullshit media crap that is only motivated by dollars, I'm sorry, but it's like follow the money, unfortunately, at the moment, for a lot too much of what, and that's connected to survival anyway. The whole money thing's connected to survival a lot of the time. Too much, a lot of it, a certain amount of it is not, right? But a lot of people are in fear of not having money, and the whole system's been built around that, in my opinion only. Exercising freedom of speech here. So, if you get on the balcony, you get a broader perspective, and you start looking at, if I'm going to start using some critical thinking around analysing the COVID numbers, it's easy. Someone will say, well, and I was trolled recently for a post that I put up, and you know what, it was up there. It was a little cheeky, but to provoke some thought, and I wanted to see where the polarised views were, and they were polarised views coming up around, and the media's still using it. Sky News at the moment, I'm going to give the thumbs up to for being the most honest, in my opinion. That's all it is, on getting the news out there. And Alan Jones, someone I never used to really listen to. I thought he was just a loud talking mouth, but at the moment, his message that's coming out is resonating with me. I'm sure it is with a lot of you. And you've got the others on there with Harry Bolt, Paul, whatever his name is. In fact, the whole of the Sky News angle is all around this other polarised view right now on distrust for the government and so on. And look, it's not the government. Someone's pulling the strings of the government, in my opinion. All right. So maybe a little too much politics for this. Let's get some more information that you can use. So being on the balcony, you're putting things into perspective. So you're using some critical thought around some of the data that's coming your way and around COVID. And that post, for example, said 6% of people are dying, somewhere between 6 and 9, depending on where you're getting your information from, are dying directly from COVID. Now, let's put that into perspective of going, okay, last time I checked, it's not the only thing we are passing on with. In other words, dying, right, from. It's the weakest chain in your link of health. And when you break a link, that could be a linchpin to existing as a human being on the planet and moving back into just being an energy form for a period until you may come back, or whatever you believe, then that's when you will leave your form as a, when you're in the, what I call the kebab, or for the Lebanese, or for the Greeks, right? A gyros. You got a wrapper, you got a bunch of tzatziki in there and all other stuff going on, right? And there's pressures that come externally onto that system, and it'll find the weakest link potentially, right? And there'll be some pressures that come on that look for certain links, and if that link ain't strong, it will break it. That's what I believe is happening with COVID, right? Not only COVID, the flu. What happened to the flu? That used to be cool. It's not cool anymore. Now what's cool is COVID. What happened to the numbers on the flu? Go and have a look. Go and do your own research. I'm not going to do it for you. Go and have a look at the flu numbers and what's been happening with those worldwide and so on. Whether you believe anymore, the CDC or the WHO, they have lost a lot of trust in the world and a lot of the medical fraternity, by the way. So who do you believe? Go and grab a bunch of data, see if you can find a trend, and then decide what you're going to believe, if you are going to believe any of it. The point is that if you're putting it into perspective, then you'll see that maybe some numbers have been recategorized. And so what does that mean? All of a sudden, is it like we've managed to solve the flu? It's kind of like disappeared overnight. COVID's now in town and the flu's moved out. Or what else? Let's go and check any other respiratory type disease. Let's go and check cancer. Let's go and check what's happening with cardiac disease. See if you can see a trend of the last few years. I'll tell you what, here's a trend to go and look at. See how many more people are dying compared to the same, let's say, what has it been now? COVID's been the new, the new bug in town since, well, it's not a bug, it's a bacteria, but it is a virus. It's just carrying information. Was it March, April, beginning of the year? So we're talking what, 8-9 months? Go and check the previous 8-9 months. See if you can see an uptick in a trend because of the new funky cool virus that's in town. That's apparently destroying the planet. Let me tell you who's destroying the planet. We are. Not the virus. It's how we're responding to this thing that people are pumping into your face constantly, and our reaction to that in fear. Now, I think there's actually some good news in this. Troll me if you like. The good news is that a lot of things that were sitting while we were kind of half asleep or asleep on the job. Yes, while you're in the job, asleep. That we didn't see. I mean, if you're doing some bad shit, you don't want people seeing it, right? But on our watch, while we've been asleep, whilst awake, things have been going on, I believe. And it's funny and there's certain forces that have really tried to bank on building this whole COVID fear thing. And yeah, I don't really give a shit whether you call it a conspiracy theory or whatever you fucking call it, right? We've got something going on in consciousness right now. There's a lot of fear that's out there, and a lot of people are trying to jump on the bandwagon. And then we've got where was I? So yeah, a lot of fear that's being driven, and what it's doing is we're starting to put our attention on certain things that are creating tension in the system. I got to say, what's happening in Victoria right now is the most despicable act that I can remember in my life on a mass scale. It is disgraceful. It is disgusting. I am seeing stuff that you would only ever see happening in other countries, not Australia. This thing with the markets, dragging people out of their cars because first, they had their phone thing. If we saw that piece of news, I guarantee that lady being dragged out of the car, if we saw that piece of news and there was no COVID thing going on, what do you think would be happening right now? Do you think there would be an uproar? Do you think there would be a massive uproar? I think there would be. But now it's becoming normal. Yeah. And on the weekend, the markets, you know what? Everybody's fucking well coalescing. Sorry, I'm having a rant. Needed to come out. A little cathartic for me. If you don't find it, informative, or you're not interested, just switch off. If you want to troll me, then go ahead. I really don't care. But I got to say, and if And if people don't agree, I'm going to question people on this to sort of say, well, sorry, what is wrong with you? Do you not see what is happening? Now, Andrews, in my opinion, he's a pawn in the whole thing. There's a whole system that's been built, in my belief, because I kind of think at a strategic level a lot of the time. I think, what is the cause of the cause of the cause? I'll ask why 100 times, and I want to drill into the real issue because I'm a seeker, like a lot of us are, and seeking for the truth, in my interpretation. And so there's something else that's going on in the world. And so these tensions are being created that are putting a lot of tension. There's a lot of tension that's being put on the system. Things are going to break. And I think we've only seen the beginning of it. Now, I don't see that as bad news. Depending on what you've attached to yourself to in life, be it materialistic stuff or other things don't fucking well matter right now. People matter. And I think we are on the precipice of some massive change that is going to be for the better. Now, the trip there is going to be scary for a lot of people. I'm one of those strange ones that find it actually exciting. Why? Because I believe that this should have happened maybe a lot more smoothly a long time ago, in my heart. And so, anyway, it's my view. Get on the balcony, broaden out your perspective, and have a bigger picture view of what's happening right now. Because, in my opinion again, this ain't about a virus. The virus, or whatever else it could have been, has only exposed what is needed to be really well fixed on this planet. It could have been some other catastrophic event. Thank God it wasn't worse. Right? I don't believe we've seen the end of it yet, but I think it has kicked off a domino effect and a ripple effect that is going to change the planet in a way that we've never seen before, and for the better. Because the truth always surfaces in times like this, and the shit surfaces, the truth, whatever you want to call it. And I think when we move beyond this, life on the planet is going to be unimaginably better than it has been. If you thought it was great before, then here's my view. I think we were all in a trance, and we're coming out of the trance. And I think certain forces can see that. And, we're in for a ride. But I believe it's going to end up in a good place. So, sorry guys. As I said, you don't have to listen to this. You can switch it off as soon as you think, oh God, he's going crazy or he's a loony. No, I just question things a lot, and interested in seeking why certain things are happening. It's just my view. You've got yours. And thank God for freedom of speech. And may that never disappear. So, get on the balcony, get perspective, broaden out your view. I believe everything's going to be cool. It's just there's a lot of change happening right now, and I believe it's a change for the better. But COVID is just one small piece of this whole thing, and it's not about COVID, as I said. All right, well, I think I've bleated enough right now. I'm going to get on with the rest of my run here on a beautiful, glorious day. Yet again, I know I keep bragging about it here on the Gold Coast. The longer I spend here, the more I really love this part of the world. And why not? Sand Beach, made choices to be here, took a lot of risks to get here, and still taking a lot of risks. So, it keeps life interesting. All right. Have a great morning, evening, day, whatever you're doing. And I continue to work on each day, trying to become more and more present, becoming more and more present, not just trying. Because if you're not here, you're thinking about stuff that happened or stuff that's going to happen, then you ain't present. You're just locked up in your head. And there's a lot of shit that's being directed towards your head at the moment. So make your own choice on your perspective. Do some critical thinking on certain things like numbers that keep getting thrown at us, which whether you believe them or not anyway. And the part you get to control, the part you get is living in the present, seeing where you are right here, right now. And on that note, I'm out of here, guys, to try and get some more presence in my life, to do some planning, which is not about losing yourself in the future of planning, but to break some things down that I can achieve and commit to every day, and getting more consistent at it. We're on some exciting stuff at the moment, still getting very deep in the frequency stuff, because that's where I believe a lot of our answers are going to lie for future health and wellness, optimization, and well-being. All right. See you on the next one, guys. Bye.